Hey VC, I'm back. Did you even notice I'd gone? Don't know, but it's probably been about 3 months since I did a video, which is far too long. I've been meaning to do this summer vinyl tag set, questions set by Martin the Martian. I'll leave a link to his channel below. And just haven't got around to it. My problem is I get too easily distracted by other things. There's always something else I want to be doing. And I love talking about my records. I spend most of my time surrounded by music, so shouldn't really have an excuse, but I'm here now. One of the things I have been doing is finally getting around to putting my entire vinyl collection, the LPs anyway, on Discogs. And my God, that is a time-consuming business. I'm currently up to the letter S, going in alphabetical order, and I'm about 5,500 albums in, I think. So, as you can appreciate, it's taken a little while, and some of it's fun, digging through records I haven't looked at closely for quite a long time, and some of it is so tedious you would not believe it. Headaches galore, staring at dead wax, trying to decipher the matrix numbers and that kind of thing. But you know, if you've done it yourself, you know what a pain in the backside it is. But it needs to be done. So anyway, the summer vinyl tag. Martin the Martian has set up 15 questions, some interesting ones here, and hopefully I've got some interesting records to show to sort of back up the questions. So let's get right to it. The first question, he asks us to show our most recent heater. I have no idea what that means. I'm assuming that is something that you consider to be a bit of an exciting purchase, something that's a bit of a grail maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I'll take it to mean something a little bit out of the ordinary. And I picked up this a few weeks ago now. Picked it up on Vinted of all places, and it was described extremely conservatively by the guy selling it. You can see there's a bit of a tear on the sleeve there. I think he described it as satisfactory, and the photographs were very limited in their number and in their quality. But the price he had it on for, I thought, I'll give it a punt. It could pay off. And if I show you the vinyl, you'll see that is more than satisfactory. That is borderline mint. And it's an original UK first pressing. And apart from that little sticker removal tear on the sleeve, it's in great shape, plays really well. Now I've wanted this for a long time. I have their other album, Through a Window, and I really enjoy that. This is a lot harder to get and tends to go for a lot more money. I was fully expecting to have to part with 3 figures to pick it up at some point, but I got this for 20 quid. So I guess that counts as a heater. It's a really good album. The other album, has quite an acoustic feel, and this does too. It's rock, but it's played mainly in acoustic style, and when the electric guitars come out, they're not plugged into distortion pedals on the whole. But this is a heavier album than the other one, and probably the heaviest track is one called Space Between, which kind of is reminiscent of Stray. So that was a really good purchase. Very happy to have that one. Question number 2 is an LP that'll melt your face off. Okay, this is another recent purchase by a band called Earls of Hell. Or was it Earl of Hell? Earl of Hell, sorry. Who I discovered completely accidentally. I went to see, earlier this year, I went to see Brant Bjork playing a solo show in some little dive somewhere in London, I forget where now. And this lot was supporting. Never heard of them before, and I saw them and I just thought, yeah, they've got something about them. Really quite enjoyed their set. And then a couple of months later I went to see Masters of Reality. Had no idea who was supporting, and as I walked in I thought, oh damn, I'm late, sounds like they're already on. And I thought, no, this isn't Masters of Reality, but I know this song. And it was a track by Earl of Hell called The Infernal Dream, and yes, they were the support band. So I was delighted to see them a second time. And they're pretty unknown quantity. This is their first, I believe, and only album. I think they've had the odd EP or single out before. And this, I think, is only available through their website or on Bandcamp, which is where I got it. And there's a couple of variants of the fancy vinyl that you can get, but I opted for this one. And it's a great record. It's definitely one for fans of Queens of the Stone Age and Alice in Chains and stoner rock. And I love it. And if you want to check out what they're about, listen to The Infernal Dream. There's a video for it on YouTube, so I would definitely say check it out. And you don't get to see much of the band on the sleeve, unfortunately, because they've got an interesting look as well, particularly one of the guitarists who's got like a real 70s style mustache. So yeah, great album. Question number 3 is Cheap Heat. So just a cheap album. Now, I've seen people showing Cheap Heat where they're saying, oh, you can pick this up for $30 or $40. I'm thinking that's not cheap. Cheap Heat to me is something you get out of the bargain bins. You get out the pound boxes below the racks. So I've gone with Moon Martin's Street Fever album. Now, Moon Martin, I think he's a Canadian guy. I think I'm right in saying that. I should have done my research better. I've got 3 or 4 of his albums, and they're all worth your time, definitely. This one, I would say, is possibly his most sort of clearly power pop release. And I picked this up for £1 in one of my local record shops in their bargain bin. I picked up a load of really good power pop that day for £1 a piece. And yeah, he's got that kind of Andy Warhol look going on. There's definitely that kind of Buddy Holly influence to some of the stuff. You know, you get some power pop definitely has that Buddy Holly thing going on. It has a sort of a slightly rootsy Americana, Tom Petty type thing as well. And the Beatles and all the usual kind of suspects sort of filter into this. Great record. Check out the track Signal for Help, which is really, really good. And yeah, great bit of power pop. And any of his albums you can pick up for £1, £2. So don't sleep on those. Question number 4 is show a record by a band with 2 members. I'm paraphrasing the questions Martin put in his original video, because a lot of them were, I think this one was 2-piece swimsuit. He's trying to really tie in that summer theme, and I didn't bother noting down all the sort of long-winded titles, so I'm just kind of summarising. So yeah, two-piece swimsuit, a 2-person band. So the Chesapeake Jukebox Band, another recent purchase, one I've been after for a long time. It turns up in the States quite regularly, but by the time you add in shipping fees, it just really isn't worth getting it shipped over here. I actually got this sent from a seller in Germany, and they had a minimum purchase price, and this I think was like equivalent of about £2. I think £10 was the minimum that you could spend and they'd ship to you. So I ordered a couple of other things, just thinking, well, just to make up the amount, and those didn't turn out so great. But this is a really interesting album. I won't say that I'm hooked on it yet, because it's quite a difficult album to get into. It's pretty dense, and it's got a great sleeve for starters. Look at this. It's fold out sort of jukebox type of a sleeve. I say it's a 2-man band. Lyric in a sleeve there, and it's on this Green Bottle Records label. It's quite an interesting one. And as you can see, again, it's pretty much a mint copy. I'm not sure it'd ever been played, so I'm very pleased to have picked it up. The 2 members in question are, let me get this right, Steve Sawyer and Rusty McFinn. You can just about make them out in that picture there. And this is kind of a Beatlesque Baroque pop album, and it's pretty ambitious. It's not very easy to summarise, and I'm still getting my head around it. It's not immediate, that's for sure, and that's not that it's not immediately enjoyable. It's just, it's not 2-minute pop songs that are easily kind of dismissed or defined or absorbed. There's a lot more to it than that. So I'm looking forward to taking a bit more time over that one. Question number 5 is a summer road trip soundtrack. Well, when I think of a road trip, I think of big American open-top cars and AOR. So I've gone with Survivor's Premonition album, which was their second album and quite possibly my favourite by them. I first heard a song by this on this album. It's actually Take You On a Saturday, which was the B-side of the Eye of the Tiger single. And also, yeah, that's a slightly different sound. This album's a lot more, it's AOR certainly, but it's got that kind of Bad Company blues rock kind of feel to it as well, but in a very American way. I mean, it opens with Chevy Nights, road trip, Chevys. Poor Man's Son is a fantastic ballad. Take You On Saturday, like I say, it's a real stomper. And then one of my all-time favourite rock ballads, Heart's a Lonely Hunter, ends the album. I love a bit of Survivor, and that's my favourite album by them. Question number 6 is my most recent car boot find. Well, I've not done many car boots this summer. It's normally a problem for me getting up early enough to beat all the other diggers, but I did pick up this in at one of my local West London boot fairs, and it's a great listen. So Buddy Miles, A Message to the People. I mean, the first thing to say about this is the artwork is sensational, both inside and outside the gatefold cover. Buddy Miles, of course, was the drummer in Jimi Hendrix's Band of Gypsies. And this album, it has some kind of hints of Hendrix in it, but overall it's just a really great funky rock album. I mean, very much the emphasis on funk, with a fair few horns and the like as well. So yeah, this is a fantastic record. And what did I pay for this? It wouldn't have been any more than a £5, I'm pretty sure of that. So yeah, very pleased to add that to my collection. Question number 7 is show an album with the sun on the cover. I had a long list of these, and I don't know why I sat writing out a list. I guess it's because I thought, well, which albums I want to show more. In the end, I went with this one, Chris Robinson Brotherhood and Servants of the Sun. Got a nice sunrise, sunset, whatever it is there. Sun on the back. And more of the sun on the inside there. So this is a great band. Definitely the Chris Robinson Brotherhood is in the shadow totally of the Black Crowes. I mean, Chris Robinson was singing the Black Crowes, for those who don't know. I actually prefer this band to the Black Crowes, who I really enjoy as well. But this lot, they've got a real kind of also a jazzy sort of jam band kind of West Coast thing going on. It just sounds like Chris Robinson on these records is making the music he truly loves, with a bunch of like-minded musicians, including Neil Casale, who was one of the sort of founders of the band and really good guitarist and songwriter, who sadly took his own life. So I think this is the final album you're ever going to see by Chris Robinson Brotherhood. And it's great. I mean, it's one for fans of the Grateful Dead, I guess. Black Crowes fans would enjoy it as well. There's a fair bit of jazz in here, some really nice playing. So yeah, check them out, Chris Robinson Brotherhood. Then an acoustic album is question number 8. Now I've gone with the Pentangles debut album, my rather kind of held together with tape original UK first pressing. Now I think I saw somebody showing this not so long ago. I think it was George Pryor. There you go. It's the labels. That's the labels of the first pressing. I think the second pressing had the kind of the multicoloured flags and whatever else is on the what is it, not track? What's the label called? my brain has gone totally blank and I can't see the name of the label written on here. Transatlantic. Yeah, so whatever form you can get this on, you need to listen to it. I think it's one of the greatest acoustic albums ever made, and it sounds so good. I mean, this isn't the greatest copy. I mean, don't know whether they show up. There's a ton of surface scratches on here, and there's still crackle and pop, but it just doesn't matter. The music is just so beautifully recorded. There's so much space and air around the instruments. And you've got John Renbourn and Bert Jansch playing guitars on here. You've got Jackie McShay on vocals. You've got Danny Thompson on bass, and the drummer is, what's his name? Terry Cox, is it? Yeah, Terry Cox. Absolutely amazing album. Just beyond brilliant. It's kind of acid folk. It's got a lot of jazz in here. And it's just one of the most beautiful albums you can imagine. So a great summer album, great anytime album. But certainly one of the best acoustic albums ever, I think. So where are we now? What's the next question? Number 9, an album released in 1969. Now I was going to actually show an album by Bread, just to be a bit different, because I think Bread do not get the love they deserve. Certainly in the States, I think they had some big hits and Make It With You and things like that, and I think they have kind of coloured people's view of them. But their early albums are some really nice, beautifully recorded, harmony-driven West Coast music with some light, admittedly, but light psychedelic touches. They're fantastic. But that's me talking about an album I'm not going to show. What I am going to show is Manfred Mann's Chapter 3, the debut album by this lot. Now, this was the album that Manfred Mann and Mike Hugg put together after the Manfred Mann band ceased to be. I think they wanted to do something a bit more progressive, and they certainly achieved that with this. See the gatefold there? And this was released on the Vertigo label, and is completely right for that label. As you can see, it's an original Vertigo swirl, and I picked this up for 50p, and not in a charity shop or booth, actually in a record shop. And it was a record shop, it's long since closed down, but it was in Kingston in Surrey, and the guy who ran it had a section of 10 albums for a £5, and it was a lot of things like Billy Joel albums or the odd Fleetwood Mac, that kind of thing, things which really these days go for a lot more. And this was in there, and the only reason I assumed that he had it in there was because it's got some fogging there and a couple of surface scratches, and that's obviously been kept in a polythene lined inner sleeve which has sort of leached onto the vinyl, but it has no effect whatsoever on the sound. So I got a decidedly rare album for 50p, and this is a fantastic record. It's so different to what Manfred Mann were doing before, and I enjoy all eras of Manfred Mann, the ones that came before this and the Earth band that followed. But this is the most dark, twisted, progressive jazz imaginable, with vocals that sound like, at times, like Dr. John on the Gree Gree album. There's horns on here, but you almost don't feel like you're listening to horns because they're not played in that kind of structured way that they've used in soul bands. They come across as really creepy and eerie. This is one of the creepiest albums I own, and I love it for that. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm not quite sure which tracks I can recommend. I mean, all of them, but the opening track, Travelling Lady, is fantastic. Connicuff, another great track. It's all so good. And like I say, creepy as hell. There's whispered vocals. There's that kind of Dr. John kind of gumbo swamp type vocal. Some fantastic obtuse chords played on the keyboards by Manfred Mann as well. So yeah, brilliant album, absolutely amazing. Okay, next up, an LP that's perfect from start to finish. Well, I've shown this before, but I never tire of bigging up Cheap Trick's debut album. There is not a bad note on this album. One of the greatest albums ever made. I mean, if you go back to my top, whatever it was, 20 power pop albums of all time, I'll leave a link to that video below. But this made it to number 2, and I actually think perhaps it should have been number 1. It's not everyone's favourite Cheap Trick album, but to me, they came out the gate just with such a statement of intent. This is heavy, it is exciting, it is beautifully accomplished. It's, you know, it just shows that Rick Nielsen is one of the greatest and most underrated guitar players, possibly because of the way he looks. He doesn't look like a typical guitar hero, but my God, he could give anybody a run for their money. Robin Zander's one of the greatest vocalists of all time. Bunny Carlos just laid down such a groove, he's amazing. And Tom Peterson, brilliant bass player. So check it out. I won't say any more about that because I could bang on about it all day, but yeah, Cheap Trick, perfect album. Question 11. Show an LP that I'm in love with at the moment. This is one that I've had this for 3 months or so, I guess. I picked this up at the Spitalfields Record Fair and I paid £1 for it, still sealed. The Cherry Dolls and Viva Lost Dolls. Knew nothing about it, but for £1 I thought, well, why the hell not, give it a go. Wow, £1 well spent. I mean, first off, it comes on this really sexy bubblegum pink vinyl. So I had no idea what kind of music it was. The band name perhaps is a hint, the Cherry Dolls. You think New York Dolls when you hear that name. And yeah, this lot may have heard the odd New York Dolls track at some point. I'd not so long ago seen, I saw Iggy Pop at the Alexandra Palace, and he was incredible. For a man of his age, whatever age he is, 70, 75? I don't know. He's old anyway. He was incredible and so energetic, even though he's kind of dragging around a crippled leg these days. And I wanted some music that sounds like that. And this, they're not copying the Stooges, but they are channeling the spirit of the Stooges. And also you get kind of elements of that New York sort of cool, that kind of the Strokes type sound. There's a bit of really nice sort of reverb, sort of Tex-Mex guitar on some tracks, but it's just such a driving, snotty, dirty rock and roll record. The whole thing lasts about 31 minutes, I think, so it doesn't outstay its welcome. But what a great record. I mean, of the people I know have occasionally dipped into my channel, I would say that Vinyl Richie is the guy who'd probably get off on this most, having seen his taste. If you do listen to this, Richie, and you like it, let me know. Brilliant record. Can't get enough of it. What's next question? Question number 12. Recommend another channel. Okay, I find this difficult because I tend to go back to the same old channels, and they're people who really don't need my help because they're bigger channels than mine. But I have been watching a channel called Records with Jay recently. And this is Jay Ferguson, who's a member of Sloan, the Canadian sort of alternative power pop type band. And he's only got about 700-800 subscribers at the moment. He doesn't post videos that often, maybe once a month, more often than me actually. But you know, he's a nice, sort of likeable guy, sort of laid back style, and he's got some interesting records. So, and it's nice to see a guy who plays music who's still a big fan of music and wants to talk about other people's bands. So, yeah, check him out. Again, I'll put the link below. Question 13 is recommend an LP that everyone will enjoy. Well, there is no such thing. That's a pretty dumb dumb question. So I had to think of a record that I think would appeal to a broad range of people. And I've gone with Funkadelic, Standing on the Verge of Getting It On. And yet everyone shows Maggot Brain, so I decided not to show that. And this album doesn't get anywhere near as much love as it should. It is definitely seen as the poor relation to Maggot Brain. But this is a great record. And it has all the stuff you'd want from Funkadelic. It's funky. There you go. Your funk fans are going to like it. There's some soulful elements, I suppose, as there is in any funk. And you've got the searing guitar of Eddie Hazel. So, you know, it starts off with a track called Red Hot Mama. Ton of great guitar in that, as there is in Alice in My Fantasies. And the final track, Good Thoughts, Bad Thoughts, is another Eddie Hazel showcase. Fantastic record. It's, you know, it's twisted as only Funkadelic can be. It's funky. It's rocking. And I'll probably go and listen to that after showing this video. Actually, I have to record this video. There you are. Okay, number 14. A record that I grabbed on holiday. Well, I picked up a couple on holiday this year, but I'm not going to show those. What I'm going to do is show an album that I picked up on holiday probably in about 1981, I would say. So, a while ago. And this was in the days when you used to go to somewhere like France and think it was incredibly exotic because it just seems so different to England, where the whole world seems to be pretty much the same these days. So you go to a Carrefour supermarket in France and be amazed because they had, you know, things like windsurfers you could buy, and they had a record department, stuff like that. Whereas, you know, in England at the time, you'd go into Tesco and you'd be lucky if you could find peaches. And I picked up a copy of Overkill by Motorhead, which wasn't a difficult album to pick up in the UK, but I saw it. It was the right price. And I'm so pleased to have a French copy of this. I mean, it is a brilliant album. I mean, look at that track listing. It starts with Overkill, and it doesn't let you go from then on. Stay Clean, great track. I'll Be Your Sister, which, you know, you look at Lemmy and think, ooh, ugly sisters, no thanks, don't want you being my sister. Always found Motorhead a bit scary, and that's one of the things that appealed to them, that appealed to me, I should say. Side one finishes with Capricorn, which is probably as close to psychedelia as Motorhead got. I mean, the phasing on the guitar is just so over the top. It's like a wash of Phil Spector-esque, I'm having trouble pronouncing this today, Spector-esque sound. It's incredible. Side 2 starts with No Class, which possibly has one of the greatest guitar riffs of all time. Tear You Down, Metropolis. Oh, it's a brilliant record. Bought it in a supermarket. I mean, what more could you want? I also bought my first copy of Dark Side of the Moon that same day in that supermarket. So, right. Question 15, final question. Show the most overshadowed LP ever, or words to that effect. Again, that's a difficult one to do. So I'm just going to show a record I love that within this band's catalogue I think is always overshadowed, and that is Making Contact by UFO. And I think I may have shown this before, but it needs far more love than it ever gets. I never see anyone else showing it. I saw UFO live for the first time on this tour, so that holds very fond memories for me. But this is just such a great album. It's UFO, where Phil Mogg indulges his, at the time, current, I think, obsession with all things Bruce Springsteen. And regular visitors to this channel know I'm not a huge Springsteen fan. That's not because of what Springsteen stands for or what he was trying to achieve. I just don't like his voice or his presentation. But I like the idea of what he's doing. And this is a great piece of Americana done by a British hard rock band. And the lyrics to Diesel in the Dust and Blinded by a Lie and The Way the Wild Wind Blows, they all have that kind of dusty American border town kind of feel to them. And it's a brilliant album. And the last track on side one, When It's Time to Rock, I always thought should have been the song that for the rest of their careers UFO should have started their live sets with, because it's just such a perfect set opener. So UFO fans, you need to give this more of a chance, and anyone who fancies a bit of quality hard rock with a Springsteen-esque, what is it with that, the esque thing I can't do today, with a Springsteen-esque edge to it, check it out. Great album. Okay, so that's it. That is the end of the summer vinyl tag, and probably, hopefully, not the end of my making videos for this summer, although the summer is looking like it's given up today. It's pretty gloomy out there, but I've had a great summer. Hope you have too. Thanks to Martin the Martian for setting these questions, and I'll catch you all again soon. Like, subscribe, comment, all of that sort of stuff, and check out some of the links below. Bye for now.